Welcome to the shop. I'm Jeff from Today's Craftsman. Today we're going to be talking about screws. Maybe not the most interesting subject on the surface, but there's a lot to unpack and a lot of different screws to, try and decide which ones that you're going to use in your shop. So these are the four main screws that we use here. We have 1.5 inches and 1.25 inches, just regular T20 construction screws, these are called. They have a type 17 tip. So this is like I think they consider it like a self-drilling. It has this little cut here so that it helps, start cutting away a hole. So we have 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. 1.25 inches we use in situations where you have to join two pieces of 3/4 together, obviously, so we don't go through the other side, because that would be, usually about 1 7/16 inches, two pieces of 3/4 inch material together. And the 1.5 inches we use if we're doing a butt joint. So if we need to assemble some cabinets and screw through a side into a rail, we'll use the 1.5 inches because that gives us a little more length. So those are what we use for general cabinet construction and jigs and all kinds of stuff. These are what we keep in our workbenches. So we keep these 4 boxes. I think Rob's are blue. I 3D printed these years ago. So those are our main bugle head screws, I guess these would be considered. They have that bugle shape, and they do have the self-countersinking nibs, which we don't take advantage of. We use a countersink here, but aside from that, for construction, we're using pocket screws. So we have 1.25 inches with a coarse thread, and we have 1.5 inches with a fine thread. So these are going to be for cabinet construction, and these are going to be for hardwood joining. So we use these to build face frames. The fine thread threads nicely into hardwood without a pilot hole, and this is nice and coarse, so it grabs without a pilot hole in plywood. We buy our fasteners from a company called Fastco. They're down in Atlanta, Georgia, and we picked them because they offer these construction screws in sizes from 1 inch to 3 inch, all with a T20 tip. So we keep a T20 on our impact, and you go from 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches to 1 5/8 inches to a 2 to a 2.5 inches to a 3, and we don't have to change this from a 1 all the way up to a 3-inch screw. And for the pocket holes, unfortunately they don't have them in this T20, so we're using a square still for pocket holes. I think some companies are offering pocket holes with different head, but number 2 square or Robertson for you Canadians is a good choice. They are more prone to camming out than the Torx, but typically with pocket holes in plywood and hardwood like that, in the applications that we're using, it's not really a problem. So something we were talking about is like what tip do you like? Is Torx king? For a while I was a Phillips guy. We use combo, square, and Phillips. And I like the Phillips. I think it was the screws that we had. They didn't have the best fit with the square, so I tended to lean towards the Phillips, but I'm fully converted now to the Torx. So we run Torx 20, and we do have one larger screw that we keep in the van for installs. That's a T25. So yeah, let us know what kind of screws you use, and if you want to know where to find these, we'll put a link in the description.